Just getting set up on all the different platforms. And why is this not working on Facebook? Um, Strange. Here we are. Cool. All good and ready to go. So we are live on Facebook. We'll go live on Instagram now. Yes, we will. And then we'll go live on TikTok as well. Cool. I think the lighting is all good. I think we're set up. Sorry, a bit late. It's always a bit of a new hotel, new drama, trying to get the setup all working. So yeah, thank you for joining, everyone. I'll just give a moment for people to climb in before we get into today's session. It's going to be a good one today. It's going to be we're going to be we're going to be we're going to be talking about type 2 diabetes today. Now, really popular topic. Um, we've been getting DMs on this one pretty much every day for the last
3 years.
particularly, yeah, I feel like it's picked up. I don't know if it's the winter season, so people start, eating the Christmas snacks in the office, and people start getting the all the cookies and the chocolates. I don't know, but we've been getting so many diabetes questions, queries. How can I reverse it? What can I do about it? That I wanted to spend this live session. Probably the live. No, we've got one more last live session before the end of the year, and yeah, we'll get into it. Just seen your message and me. If you have booked for a consultation, you should have received an email that's gone to, maybe it's gone to your junk folder, and it's just the email
Yeah, pop the email.
schedule the time. But if you just pop your email in the chat, then Jade can have a look through and just make sure that gets resent to you. But do check your junk folder as well. Um, Okay, yes, today we're going to be talking about diabetes. For those of you on Facebook and YouTube, I think you'll be able to see the slides as well to go with it, so you're in for a treat. But yeah, everyone on Instagram and TikTok, you'll be able to follow along. I'll be talking through it, I'll be breaking it down. We'll be talking about, what are the big mistakes with diabetes? Can it be reversed? What food should you be eating? What food should you be avoiding? What's the medication you should be taking? What herbs should you be using? All of these questions we'll be answering today when we do a deep dive into diabetes. As always, I'll try and leave some time for some Q&A. Got a hard stop at half, wherever you are, in an hour's time. So yeah, I'm going to try and get through everything in about 45 minutes. And then, I need to get the housekeeping out of the way first, as always. Then try and get through the session in about 40 minutes. And then I'll try and leave 15, 20 minutes for some Q&A at the end, as always, as well. Thank you, Indeedy, for sending that through. And do you see that, Jade? If you go to message mind, it will be there. Oh, Jay's just getting logged in. But yeah, cool. Thank you. We'll get that booked in. So just to let everyone know, it's your first housekeeping point in terms of the consultations. I will be taking a break from the 23rd until the end of the year. It's been intense for the last 6 months, and all consultations are with me and yeah, one to one. So, yeah, there will be taking a short break at the end of the year. We'll be resuming in the new year, so not to worry. You'll still be able to book your consultations and get that one to one support. If you do want to book a consultation for the new year, you can just head to the website, go to the consultations tab. We do have diet reviews as well if you don't want the full consultation and you'd just like to get a review of what you're eating, your diet, to see if it's right for what your objectives are. Then we do have recently launched that service as well, so you can get that support. If you do want a full consultation with the herbs included, of course, that is available on the website as well. Ahead of Christmas, I think the international delivery deadline has gone. So if you missed it, I'm sorry. You can still get it, and maybe it's still arrived for the new year, but there are quite a lot of bank holidays. If you are in the UK, the deadline for express delivery is tomorrow,
Yeah.
Monday. So yeah, if you do want to place an order, if you're thinking of a Christmas gift, we did a whole live session on what the best way to Christmas gift the herbs would be. If you want to go on Instagram and check that out as well. But last day for guaranteed delivery before Christmas will be tomorrow. So yeah, don't miss out on that. We do also have a couple of things for Christmas that we've launched. We've got the buy one, get one 50% off offer. Sorry? Oh, the TikTok. Oh. They've got the it's a filter. They've got the buy one get one 50% off offer on all healing kits. So yeah, do do use that if you want to buy it for a loved one or you're getting it for yourself. Or you just want to stock up. It's a great reason to use it, and that applies to all healing kits. If you buy one, you can add another one to the cart and get that second one 50% off. Really good offer. And then we also launched the Christmas kits as well. So it's almost like a starter pack, but more designed for gifting, a bit cheaper as well. But it covers all the bases basically. So it has the nutrients, it has the vitamins, it has the minerals, it has the antioxidants that most people will experience quick benefits using it. So I'd strongly recommend that if you're thinking of a Christmas gift and you haven't got one yet. So yes, Christmas gift set and buy one get one free. Last chance to use that is tomorrow. Sorry?
You said buy one free.
Oh, sorry, buy one get one 50%. In terms of the job, so we have gone through all the applications. So thank you again for everyone who has applied. Really appreciate it. We have got back to everyone now. So those have been progressed, and those who unfortunately haven't, you will know by now. If you haven't heard, then maybe we didn't receive your application or it came through, a different platform. So if you're thinking, oh, I applied and I haven't heard back, then please do send us a message on the website. It's probably the best way to do it. And then we can filter through the questions and review your application. Just so everyone is aware, in terms of what the job looks like, if anyone listening now is interested or it's your first time here and you missed the lives where we've spoken about it. The job will be, we're rushed off our feet. There's so many people that need help and we can't do it. So basically we're just looking for an extra pair of hands to help out where their skills are helpful. There's a few core functions like helping to get back to customers, helping to follow up on the consultations and manage the administrative side of things there. But really wherever your expertise lies. So whether that's content creation, whether that's AI and implementing that, whether you're a marketing expert or you just love admin or finance, wherever your skills lie, there's probably a role for you here because it's just me and Jade running it. Sorry?
Naturopath course.
Oh, yes. In terms of what you will get from the opportunity, we are sponsoring an online naturopath course. We are sponsoring an online master herbalist course as well, the same ones I've done, so I can vouch for them. We're also sponsoring one-to-one kind of learning and feedback sessions and kind of following the same path I took in terms of accruing the knowledge and getting to understanding how we kind of operate as well. So yeah, that's that. I think that is, did that happen before?
What?
No, we've spoken about 600K. We're inching close to 800K on Facebook, so hopefully we'll be able to announce that and celebrate that in the new year, or just before it. So that's exciting. I think that is everything. All right. So let's get into today's session. And yeah, for everyone, this is going to be more of a structured session where I'm talking through presentation style. So if you do have questions, just get them in and we'll try and get back to everything at the end, but I won't be stopping to answer questions during the presentation, just to let everyone know that.
Also, just to say, if anyone wants to actually catch the slides, then head to YouTube because you'll be presenting them.
Yeah, I think Facebook should have it as well.
Okay.
I don't know if it does. But yeah, okay. Yes. Let's talk diabetes. Let's break it down. Let's understand, is it a reversible condition? Is it something that you need to put up with for the rest of your life? As doctors will tell you, it's irreversible, they say. The good news is, and I can break this one straight away, that's not the case. It's not an irreversible condition. In fact, and I'm not even going to take credit for this, I've had consultations with people, I've worked directly with people, and it's literally been reversed in less than 6 months. And that's from, high 6s, even 7s in some cases down. And it's just doing the right things. It's eating the right way. It's oftentimes you don't even need to use the herbs, to be honest. The herbs definitely help, but I've seen it happen where you don't even need to use the herbs. And just doing the right things, just making the right decisions on a daily basis, and those cumulative right decisions culminate into your A1C lowering, which is the important thing. So let's break down what we're going to be talking about today. As I say, it's going to be around 40 minutes. But it's going to be really useful information, and it's no fluff, just effective, useful, applicable information. So we're going to break down, what is diabetes, because a lot of people just think high blood sugar is diabetes, or insulin's not working, or pancreas is broken. That's not diabetes. So let's break down what diabetes actually is. We'll also talk about the keto cycle. And it's really important because this is what doctors are recommending. They're saying, go on the keto diet, go on the keto diet. And we need to understand what that is actually doing, and why, what happens when people go on the keto diet actually happens. We'll also talk about the foods you need to be eating to reverse diabetes. And there are certain foods that will make it worse, certain foods that will make it better, and a lot of foods that are just in the middle. So we need to kind of understand what groups they fall into so we can start to build a framework for you to eat correctly. And then we'll talk about the herbs to heal as well. We'll talk about the herbs and why they differ to the big pharmaceutical medications that you will be given that don't work. Never have I, and the reason I say it doesn't work, there's this idea that I am anti-big pharma. I'm anti harsh chemicals that are toxic to the body. That's what I'm anti. There's some drugs which are very helpful. There's some drugs which are really useful. Unfortunately, in the case of diabetes, not many drugs heal or help people, because they just facilitate you making the same bad lifestyle decisions that led to the condition in the first place. Not all diabetes is, eating junk food and, bad lifestyle. It can be caused by viral conditions. It can be caused by injury as well. But I guess as we're talking through this session, it's going to be more chronic breakdown of the factors that contribute to diabetes as opposed to acute injury. So it's worth just saying that from the outset. But yeah, when we talk about the drugs, the problem is I've never met anyone who has healed their diabetes using big pharma medication. And that's the problem. And that's why we've created the kit, because we can do that. So if we can do that, let's do that. Okay, so let's get into it. What is diabetes? So firstly, how do you even know if you have diabetes? So the simple way for most people across the world, and the numbers may differ depending what part of the world you're in and how the testing metric works, but this is the framework for how it works. So most countries will use the A1C measure. So they'll measure your A1C, and if it's under 5.8, then you are fine for the most part. If you are above 5.8, if you're above 5.8, but you are, below, if you're above 5.8, sorry, my slides have just frozen here. Sorry, the connection's not the best. But yeah, if you're above 5.8 but below 6.4, then that will be pre-diabetic. Now that is a condition to say, you're on a rocky road, but there's a way back. That's what essentially pre-diabetes is saying. You may be fairly asymptomatic. You're probably not going to have the neuropathy or the blurred vision that is associated with, chronic diabetes, but it's a sign to say, you need to watch out, basically. And then if you're above 6.5, that's what will be officially you're diabetic. And then as you move into the 7s, the 8s, that's when, you're going to get the symptoms of diabetes, or the life-threatening side of diabetes, which most people don't actually get to, or at least most people that come across me don't actually get to. So, what happens when you have diabetes? Neuropathy is a common issue, a really common issue actually. And that's probably the most common issue I see that people who have diabetes have. Because what happens is, they'll usually say, I've got this really bad nerve pain, I can't sleep very well, I struggle to lose weight, and my vision's going. Oh, and I've got diabetes. So, the diabetes often gets labeled as an afterthought in these situations. It's not known as the root cause of the issue. And the problem with that is, because diabetes is told you it's just this lifelong condition you have to manage, when we're talking about these other conditions, we separate it from the diabetes rather than understanding these other issues as a cause of the diabetes. And if we go after the diabetes, everything else kind of can fall into place, and there's things we can do to heal the neuropathy. There's things we can do to restore the bladder. There's things we can do to help with the fatigue. But If the diabetes is there, it's very, very difficult. So we need to understand, the order in which we're going about these issues. So the true cause of diabetes, what is the true cause of diabetes? And it's a really important question and something most people don't really understand. The narrative is it's just an injured pancreas, or I just don't make enough insulin. That's pretty much all they tell you about it. Let's break down the cycle of how glucose actually moves in the blood, because it's really important in understanding diabetes and what the actual issue is. So, we can start anywhere on this cycle, to be honest, but let's say we'll start on the left-hand side. And so, when you eat food, or when you eat glucose, when you eat starchy carbs, when you eat sugar, your blood sugar levels increase, your blood glucose levels increase. So when your blood glucose levels increase, your pancreas responds and it secretes insulin. Now, what that insulin does, it prompts the liver to take glucose out of the blood and store it as glycogen, which is a future store of energy. And it forces sugar to go into resting muscle tissue. The active muscle tissue, that's going to take the sugar out right away. It doesn't need the insulin. But basically, it just stores all that sugar in the resting muscle tissue for later use. So that's how the blood glucose level drops. Insulin comes in and sugar finds its way out of the bloodstream. So there's also this lie that, glucose, fructose, sucrose, dextrose, fiber is all the same thing. It's not. Case in point, fructose does not require insulin to enter cells. Okay. Sorry, Instagram's just being a bit funny on the live session. Yeah. Okay. Take this out. That should solve it. So it's saying it needs to cool down. So yes, fructose does not need to enter. Sorry, fructose does not need insulin to enter blood vessels. So, yeah, Instagram's gone down. I think it's it's too hot. Okay, so yeah, fructose does not need insulin to. Fructose does not need insulin to enter muscle cells. Fructose does not need insulin to be taken out of the blood from the liver. So the lie about all sugar is the same is simply not true. Then we can look at what the pancreas does after that blood sugar level has dropped. So the pancreas then stimulates the release of glucagon. Now, glucagon is a hormone that prompts the liver to produce or release the glycogen store, and then that glycogen will then, okay, I think we can, yeah, that glycogen will then, well, we'll just pause it for a second because I think I'll just edit it after. We'll just try and get the Instagram back up. So sorry, guys on TikTok and Facebook. And YouTube. And I'll just go back to that fructose point. Thanks. Thinks it's charging, doesn't like it when it's charging.
You can sound hot like this.
Okay, cool. Should be back up and running on Instagram. I'll just give people a chance to join. Sorry? Okay. Great. Okay, cool. Yeah, I can see people are joining now. Fantastic. Apologies, everyone on Instagram. My phone was too hot and it was plugged in, so that's why it went off. But yeah, we're back. Okay, I'll just go back a few minutes just so you can catch up to what I was saying, because it's important not to miss a chain in this presentation. So, looks like everyone's back in, so great. Let's get into it. So I'll just start with the true cause of diabetes again for anyone that missed it. Apologies everyone that heard it before, but I think the Instagram cut out a little bit before. So yeah, we can start the blood glucose. We can start the blood glucose level at any part of the cycle. So if we say start at the point you eat food. So if you eat glucose, you eat pasta, you eat rice, you eat any form of refined sugar really, and refined is crucial, and I'll explain that in a second, then your blood sugar level rises, or your blood glucose level to be specific rises. Then your pancreas will secrete insulin. Now, the role of that insulin is to take that glucose out of the blood and it puts it into resting muscle tissue, or it prompts the liver to take the glucose out of the blood and store it as glycogen. Now, glycogen is a store of future use, and it's also really important, the lie when they say glucose, fructose, sucrose, dextrose, maltodextrin, fiber is all sugar and it's all the same. It's not the same thing. Really important to understand it's not the same thing. Case in point, fructose does not require insulin to enter cells. It doesn't need that key. Glucose does. They're not all the same. Fiber is not the same as glucose. We need to understand that. Even soluble fiber and insoluble fiber isn't the same thing. So when that insulin goes, the blood glucose level drops because the glucose is being taken out of the blood. Now, after that happens, if you want to raise your blood sugar levels again, then your pancreas will secrete a hormone called glucagon. And what that glucagon does is prompt the liver to secrete its glycogen reserves into the blood. That will rise it again, the cycle continues. So when we're talking about diabetes, what is actually going wrong in this process is the liver. It's not actually a pancreas issue. When we're talking about chronic diabetes, it's actually a liver issue. And it breaks down when the liver cannot release glycogen when it's supposed to. Because your glycogen is your, instant release of energy. Your body needs energy. As you can see in the chart here, the liver breaks down glycogen, and that's what you start using. However, when your liver becomes fatigued, when your liver becomes burdened, when your liver has viral toxins, heavy metals, other things that it's dealing with, trying to protect your reproductive tract, it cannot release glycogen when it's supposed to. And then your pancreas has to step in. And that is what burdens the pancreas. That's what burdens the pancreas. That's what causes the fatigue. That's what causes the breakdown. And really, that is what the diabetes is. It's because your liver cannot do its primary job of regulating your blood sugar levels. Your pancreas, which is not supposed to be, your liver is supposed to do it on a regular basis, and your pancreas kind of does it in the background. When your pancreas now has to come into the forefront to regulate your blood sugar levels, it's not set up to do that. And it gets fatigued, it gets burdened, and then that's when you start to get insulin resistance. And when that insulin resistance comes, you can't take the sugar out of your blood as efficiently as you need to, and then that fatigue happens, and then high insulin levels, and then you get diabetes. So we need to understand diabetes is actually a liver issue, and then we can actually start to heal the condition. Obviously, the pancreas does need support, and there are things we can do to manage the load on the pancreas as well. But primarily, if we take our care of the liver, that reduces the burden on the pancreas, and then we can heal the pancreas just from not having to step in for the liver. So that's the process in terms of healing the diabetes. So what breaks down the liver? It's going to be the alcohol, it's going to be the stress. Cortisol is a massive disruptor in this cycle, because when your cortisol is high, it means when cortisol is high, it's like empty the tanks, empty the reserves, fight or flight. They call it that for a reason. It basically says, liver, empty all the glycogen, empty the tanks. And it means insulin is low. We don't want to take insulin, we don't want to take sugar out of the blood. We want all the energy we can get to fight or flight. So that's also why stress is so bad, because it just keeps your blood sugar levels dysregulated, especially if you're a coffee drinker drinking 3-4 cups a day, chronic dysregulation. Epstein-Barr virus, that can burden the liver. Streptococcus, common burden of the liver. Pesticides and chemicals like DDT. Heavy metals all around us. And then, of course, fat is the other big burdener of the liver. The liver does not want fat, contrary to popular belief. So that brings me nicely onto the keto cycle. When they talk about the keto cycle, or the keto diet, that's what gets recommended. Most people that will get diagnosed with type 2 diabetes will get recommended the keto diet. And that is, what happens, I'll just say what happens from what I've seen. Typically, your A1C levels drop, and they drop quickly. And then that happens maybe for a month or 2-3 months. And then results start to slow down. The A1C it plateaus. It doesn't continue its free fall. And then what can happen when you're eating all the steak, you're eating all the butter and the cheese, kidney issues can develop. I've seen people and they've said, I went on the keto diet, it worked for the first few months, and then it kind of stabilized. It was better than I was before. I was stuck at the same place for 5, 10 years. And then I started to develop kidney issues. I started to develop chronic kidney disease. I developed kidney stones. These things all happen. And all the while, they didn't get any better. They didn't heal at all. So why does that happen? So the keto diet is recommended because it's high fat for the most part, high protein, high fat, so no carbs. So the idea is if you don't eat carbs, there's no rise in blood sugar, so you don't have the dysregulation in that insulin. There's no burden on the pancreas, and you should heal. Sound logic. The problem is it ignores the liver, and it ignores the fact that the liver does not like fat. That's the missing link here. So we also have to look at what diet did you come from. If you're someone who's developed diabetes as a result of your diet and lifestyle, it's likely you were eating a lot of pasta, you were eating a lot of rice, you were eating, sweet treats, you were eating maybe some cake or cookies or ice cream or custard or, any of the above. It's unlikely you came from a plant-based diet, developed diabetes, and then switched to the keto diet and then saw this improvement. That I can guarantee that didn't happen. So obviously, if you've moved from a really high refined sugar diet to the keto diet, then yes, you can see improvements because it is an improvement on that. Doesn't mean it's the best thing just because you are improving. Also, we need to understand that keto diets aren't the same. I mean, you look and for those who can see the slide, even in the picture here, all different sorts of keto eligible foods and all different sources of fats, and all would rank differently. Someone could just eat ice cream, pork, and lard, and that would be a keto diet. Someone else could eat broccoli, roast potatoes, avocado, and nuts. Both keto diets, completely different effects. So we need to not just say the keto diet because it doesn't actually tell you what you're supposed to eat. All fats aren't equal. The fat in an avocado is not the same as a fat in pork. The liver doesn't like fat generally, but there is still a massive difference between the fat sources in these foods. So we can't just use these umbrella terms to talk about healing. And as I said, the problem with the keto diet is that it ignores the liver. It doesn't take into account that the liver actually wants glucose. The liver lives on glucose. It needs glucose. So when you take glucose out of the equation, you're only looking at fats, you're not actually nourishing the liver, and that's why you can't heal the condition with the keto diet. Well, unless you're eating loads of green vegetables or root vegetables, then you are getting those sugars. But the problem is they just tell you carbs are bad. So people are scared off potatoes, people are scared off yams, people are scared off all of these great healing foods under the guise, oh no, they're carbohydrates, I can't eat them. Couldn't be further from the truth. Okay. Glycemic load versus glycemic index. This is another big, misnomer and misdemeanor that happens in the health space where people say you can't eat watermelon because it's got a high glycemic index. You can't eat berries, high glycemic index. But what about their glycemic load? And you can't talk about one without the other. It's like talking about BMI. It's a blunt instrument. It can't tell me if someone is unhealthy by looking at their BMI. It's just not a complete metric to appraise a food. Even in the sole context of diabetes, you can't do that. You have to look at, even if you are looking at the glycemic index, you have to say, well, how long is that glycemic impact sustained for? And that's what the glycemic load measures. Because if something does this to your glycemic index and brings it back down straight away without pumping insulin into your system, then it's not actually impacting your diabetic issue. Because the reason why it can do that is because, as I said, fructose, most of the sugar in fruit, in certain fruits, because there are some fruits that are higher in glucose than fructose, but I say watermelon because that's the common example they tell you not to eat because it's high glycemic index, that's mostly fructose. So when you eat that, it's a low glycemic load, and the impact on your blood sugar levels is low because it doesn't actually require insulin. It's not slow coming out of the blood. It has the keys to go right into your cells because of that fructose. So we need to understand the difference there. So I've kind of touched on it. So what foods can we actually eat to heal? What are the foods we need to be eating? So I think typically I talk about the foods to avoid first. I think in the case of diabetes, the healing foods are probably more relevant because it's about eating the right foods. A lot of people that get diagnosed with diabetes, they feel like they're unable to enjoy food anymore because they're not allowed to enjoy sweet things anymore. I can't enjoy any carbohydrate. I can't enjoy any fruit. I can't enjoy anything that's sweet. And that could not be further from the truth again. A lot of people's diet actually becomes more exciting, more flavorsome, and more alive when they do get diagnosed with diabetes because they stop eating all the dead food. They stop eating all the fried foods. They stop eating all the processed foods, and their plate actually becomes alive. So, it's all about perspective. But what can we eat? So, root vegetable carbohydrates are the secret weapon against diabetes. And why is that? Well, we've spoken about it's a liver issue. The liver wants glucose. The best form of glucose that you can give your liver and also satiate yourself is root vegetable carbohydrates. With sweet potato, winter squash, butternut squash, regular potatoes, yams, cassava, all of these root vegetables, pumpkins, butternut squash, all of these root vegetables are so good because they contain phytonutrients, they contain the antioxidants, they contain the phytochelators that get the heavy metals out of the liver. They give you the glucose that your liver wants in a protected form. It's not just spiking your blood sugar recklessly. These are the healing foods that you should be incorporating. Yeah, it was a low battery. These are the incorporating foods that you these are the healing foods that you should be incorporating into your diet. The other thing, fruits. Again, there's this lie that fruits is something we shouldn't be eating and can't be eating if we're on diabetes because it's sugar. And again, couldn't be further from the truth. The fruits are super powerful. Things like pomegranate, especially the fibrous fruits, so pomegranate, berries, mango. These are fantastic fruits because they don't spike the blood sugar. They are fantastically healing for the liver, especially. They also support the pancreas. They don't put a burden on the insulin. Healing foods. And I'm not. One thing I would say is don't juice the fruit. Don't strip the fiber out of the fruit and then gulp down a pint, in a few seconds because that will spike your blood sugar. That is not the natural way to eat fruit. We were designed to eat fruit one at a time. So don't just bung 10 apples into a juicer and wash it down and say not going to impact my blood sugar because that is not the same as eating 10 apples back to back. Think how long it would take you to eat 10 apples back to back. Probably 30 minutes, 40 minutes if you were tearing through them. If you're gulping down 10 apples in a couple of minutes, that's why that glycemic load starts to pick up. So that's something important to understand. But celery juice, another secret weapon against diabetes. A glass of celery juice to start the day is a fantastic support. And then, of course, leafy greens, the sprouts, the kale, the spinach, the asparagus, the broccoli. These are all fantastic foods. Why? Because they cleanse the liver. And if it comes back to cleansing the liver, it's going to be good for diabetes. And that's a really easy way to understand it. If it has those mustard oils, if it has the bitter taste, if it has, pardon me, if it has the color, it's going to be super helpful for you. It's going to be super helpful. Now, avocado, I've asterixed because avocado is still a fat. Now, it's the best form of fat. It's better than pork, it's better than chicken, it's better than even fish, which are all high in fat as well. But the avocado is definitely the best form of fat you can eat alongside nuts, but it's still fat. So I'm not saying eat 2 or 3 avocados a day. 1 avocado a day is a good place to be. If you do eat avocados like that, half an avocado is perfectly fine as well. But hopefully that gives you a framework of how you can start to build out an exciting diet that doesn't just have to be, meat. And you can still enjoy the carbs. You can still have your sweet potato fries as long as it's not deep fried. You can still have your mashed potato. You can still have exciting salads with pomegranate jus, and you can still eat exciting things. You can still enjoy sweet things. Now, the foods to avoid. if you take in what I've been saying, the dangerous thing is the high fat, high sugar combinations, because that is what burdens the liver. Well, not only does it burden the liver, it floods your body with glucose, and then it also floods your liver with fat, so it's actually not able to take that glucose out of your blood, and then it's not able to give you glycogen when you do need energy. So it's a horrible mix, really. So what does that mean? So dairy, avoid the dairy. If you're someone who's eating sweetened cream, if you're someone who's eating ice cream, if you're someone eating all of these things, it's not remotely helping you. The fizzy drinks, stay away from the fizzy drinks. High in sugar, the fruit juice is one of the most dangerous things you can drink. There's about as much sugar in most fruit juice as there is Coke. So, people drinking the Diet Coke, the Coke Zero, thinking it's not harming their diabetes. It might not be spiking your blood sugar, but it is still giving you cancer. So don't be drinking that. But also the fruit juice is equally as dangerous. Just try and develop a taste for water. If you are someone who drinks squash, just try and slowly wean down on that squash. Just wean it down, because these are the common sugar sources that people are just doing every day and not even realizing. It's the juice, it's the squash, it's a couple of sachets of sugar in your coffee in the office. It's cereal, if you're putting sugar in cereal. These are all the common exposures that we need to move away from. Okay. And then we've also, thank you. And then we've also got processed foods. Why? Because processed foods are often with preservatives that, one, are going to burden the liver. They're also usually packed with salt and sugar to preserve them. Sugar is also actually a preservative. You wonder why sweets have a shelf life of 2 years. They don't go off. You've got a packet of Malwams or whatever. They're going to be there for years. Haribo stay there for years. So when you've got sugar, when you've got salt, these are preservatives. That's why I stay away from processed foods. Now the fried foods, that's more the fat than the sugar. So just, stay away from the fried foods. Again, the high fat, high sugar combos, the cakes, the cookies. The problem is, whenever you're eating a sweet treat, if it's got sugar, it's going to have fat. There's no such thing as unless you're looking at a sherbet stick, every single sweet treat is going to be high fat, high sugar, unfortunately. And then your white glutinous carbs, so your white rice, your white pasta. People will eat brown pasta, brown rice, thinking they're doing themselves a massive favor. And whilst it is better, you're still 10 times better off eating the quinoa. You're 10 times better off eating amaranth. You're 10 times better off going to the root vegetable carbohydrates. So just because it's not white doesn't make it healthy. We need to understand that as well. Just because it's felt flour doesn't make it healthy. It's still glutinous, it's still inflammatory, it's still burdening the liver. Okay. Okay, some coconut water to wash that down. I think we've just lost. Okay, I think we're back on Instagram, so fine. So yes, we're talking about the herbs now. So there's been a couple of questions that have come in, so I'll answer those. Is lemon water helpful? Lemon water is helpful. It's not probably the most important thing when we're talking about diabetes. It is helpful. It's better. You're better off drinking lemon water than regular water. But I wouldn't say, just drinking lemon water is going to reverse your diabetes as such. Another question was, is sugar cane okay? So if you're from the islands and you've got, fresh sugar cane that you can chew on, then yes, that is fine to chew on, because you're not going to be, it's not refined. And if you're chewing an actual sugar cane, you're not taking in sugar quick enough to spike your blood sugar in the same way, and it's got the fiber. So that would be fine. I'm not saying you should be eating sugar cane to heal your diabetes, but is it the same as putting a teaspoon of sugar into your coffee? No. So if you're craving that sweet and you need something sweet, that's a much better way to do it than to drink some fruit juice, for example. Grapes would be better, but hey ho. Okay, so how to stimulate the healing? What can we do to actually reverse the diabetes? So as I said, the typical drugs you'll get given is probably metformin, especially in the UK. That's the main drug. And I've never seen anyone heal on metformin. I've never seen anyone lower their A1C on metformin. Well, they bring it into check. I've never seen anyone move out of diabetes range with metformin. And that's because you don't take into account all of the stuff we're learning today. You don't actually make the dietary lifestyle changes. You continue doing exactly what you have been doing for the most part, and you're just taking the drugs, and that's just keeping it level whilst you're setting the stage for all of these other chronic conditions to develop, like the kidney disease, like the thyroid issues, like the autoimmune conditions, like the Crohn's. So it's the same cycle we see over and over again. So what can we actually use to start to heal and reverse the diabetes? So obviously the diet plays a massive role, but what herbs can we use to reverse the diabetes? So moringa, super helpful herb. Why? Because it cleanses the liver. It also buffers blood sugar. It also supports your bile production as well. It also helps repair the pancreas. So across the board, moringa is super versatile, super helpful due to its mustard oils, its sulforaphane, just so many useful nutrients in that moringa, fiber as well with the seeds, really helpful. Then black seed oil. Now, black seed oil is a bit of a cure-all, and the reason why it's effective against diabetes is because, yes, again, it cleanses the liver. It also helps bile production. It also buffers blood sugar on the way in. It also buffers cortisol. It also, if you do have viral factors burdening the liver, stopping it from doing its job, it's going to help knock down the strep. It's going to help knock down the Epstein-Barr virus. So another super powerful herb in the toolkit. Now, barberry. Barberry is the red berry in the middle. Barberry is effective because it contains berberine. Now, berberine is probably the most effective clinically studied compound when it comes to improving insulin sensitivity and actually directly supporting diabetes. So, golden seal is another example of a herb that contains berberine. But really, really effective herb. And if you can't get your hands on, actual barberry fruit, then there are lots of extracts widely available, or berberine directly. Although I don't really recommend synthetic isolated compounds of fruits. I say just get the fruit extract if you can. Another herb that's super helpful is shilajit. Works on a multitude of ways, brings down the insulin, so brings up insulin sensitivity, helps to regulate cortisol. And as we said, cortisol is a massive disruptor of insulin. So really important there. Helps your mitochondrial function, so the battery packs in each of your cells, essential for liver repair. So shilajit can be really helpful. Ashwagandha. Now, this is the most potent impact on your cortisol, so that it works directly with your adrenal glands to moderate your cortisol release. So if you're someone who is stressed, if you're a stressed eater, ashwagandha is an absolute must. It also buffers your blood sugar. So if you drink a cup at the start of the day, it's going to buffer the blood sugar spikes throughout the day. So really, really effective herb again. Sea moss, similar to the ashwagandha, is going to buffer the blood sugar spikes when you take it first thing in the day. Rich in soluble fiber as well. Great for buffering that blood sugar, buffering sugar on the way in, essentially. The milk thistle. Now, milk thistle is super unique. It contains silymarin. It's the best option for repairing a damaged liver. Super, super, super unique in its ability to do that. You can eat the raw seeds like how we provide it. You can get a tincture. You can turn the seeds into a tea as well by brewing them. I like to just sprinkle the seeds onto my salads just to make sure I'm getting that daily hit. Now, not to say I don't eat a salad every day, but just I like to sprinkle it on my food just to make sure I'm getting a daily hit. And it's more food than herb. I treat it like chia seeds or sunflower seeds. It's not the type of thing you're going to feel the next day, but you incorporate it in your routine and you can see some massive results. Gurmar leaf is another one, and this is probably one of my favorite herbs, and I can't wait to actually bring it into stock as well. But Gurmar leaf is an Ayurvedic leaf, and the reason why this is so unique is that if you chew on Gurmar leaf, what it does, it dampens or it dulls your your sugar receptors. So if you chew on this leaf and then you try to drink something sweet, you're not going to enjoy the taste of it. So if you're someone who's developed their diabetes as a result of a sweet tooth, you're someone who's just never been able to say no to the sweet tray going round, then Gurmar leaf is your best friend. After dinner, if you're someone who's always thinking I need a dessert, you chew a few Gurmar leaf and then you might have half a bite of that dessert and you're like, I don't want it. And that's amazing. That's so powerful, such a powerful tool. And even better than that, the Gurmar leaf itself is a very powerful compound, or very powerful herb in terms of helping to repair a damaged pancreas. So if you've developed diabetes as a result of toxic adrenaline mixing with fat and damaging or poisoning the pancreas, then that gurmah leaf is going to be a powerful aid. If you're someone who's developed diabetes as a result of pancreatitis, or you're someone who's developed diabetes as a result of an acute pancreas infection, then gurmah leaf is incredibly powerful again. So, these are the herbs that I would recommend using. We have a diabetes kit, which combines herbs into a protocol, because as you heard me discuss, some of these herbs have overlap. All of these herbs are helpful. You don't need to be using all of these herbs to experience results. So we've kind of condensed and simplified that into a package that you can follow. But as I said at the start, when it comes to diabetes, the herbs are 25%. The diet is 75%. The diet is the most important thing. So important. So yeah, I would just encourage you to watch this session again, really trying to understand the mechanisms at play, why you can't eat certain foods. Why can you not eat certain foods, and why can you eat certain foods? Because, when we go back into the list of foods I discussed, there's 8 foods on either side. I can't make an exhaustive list, but when you understand the reasons why you would want to avoid something, it really helps. When I say cortisol is really bad for diabetes, that should be a trigger. Okay, what triggers cortisol? Stress. What triggers stress? Caffeine. What's caffeine in? Coffee. What else is caffeine in? Green tea. What else is caffeine in? Matcha. Red Bulls. So all of these start to, especially when you've got that mixed with the sugar, when you've got that mixed with sugar and high fat, then you can really start to understand where these foods become really, really toxic. So, for someone with type 2 diabetes, a matcha cheesecake is probably the worst thing you can eat. And before that session, you wouldn't have necessarily thought that. Obviously, cheesecake isn't ideal, but when you add all these different compounds, you can start to think about things differently. A Red Bull is terrible because it has the sugar as well as the caffeine. A coffee, all right, if I don't put any sugar in it, is not so bad as if I put cream and 2 sugars in it. So, I'm not expecting you to be perfect every single meal. I'm not expecting every single dietary choice to be perfect. I'm not expecting you to never pick up a cake again or never pick up a cookie again. That's not the point. It's about making informed decisions, that if you are making a bad decision, I'm making a bad decision, I'll try and get it back tomorrow, because that's okay too. We're not perfect, and that is absolutely fine. But it's just about being 1% better each day and having the information and toolkit to understand how that can be achieved. So thank you for listening to the presentation. I hope you've taken that in. I hope you've understood. And yeah, I really appreciate everyone for joining that. And we will move on to some Q&A. We've probably got about 10-15 minutes of Q&A time. So I will be trying to go through. Jade is preoccupied, so manning all 3. Oh, fair enough, because Jade's not as preoccupied as I thought. So
I can do both.
Jade can do both. Okay, yeah, so let me know what you thought of the session. Let me know if you have any, if anything resonates with you, if you've been trying any of these things and it hasn't worked or has worked. So yes, Amin. NMN supplement, do I recommend it? I think it's a bit of a fad, honestly. If you're looking at it as a longevity thing, then sure, there's lots of things you can spend your money on to try and live a bit longer. Is it going to move the needle? I don't honestly think there's the research to support it. Is it better than blueberries? No. So I wouldn't say spend money on it. For diabetes, even less so, is what I would say for the NMN supplements. Yeah.
Someone said just joined. What was it that you said to add to your food daily?
That's good, that coconut water. So I think that would have been the milk thistle seeds. I would have said to sprinkle on daily. So yeah, it's basically a teaspoon that you can add to salads. You can add it to, dairy-free yogurt if you're eating that. You can add it to anything really. Same way you can add sunflower seeds to food, you can add the milk thistle seeds, and super beneficial for the liver. I'm just conscious I didn't actually go through our diabetes kit specifically. So let me just explain that quickly. Okay, sweet. So for the diabetes kit, it combines. There's 3 levels. For the healing kits, I've tried to make them 3 levels where I can. So if you're someone who is borderline pre-diabetes, you can probably go level 1. If you're someone who is pre-diabetes or tinkering on diabetes, you probably want level 2. And if you have diabetes, you probably want level 3. And if you have diabetes and are symptomatic, then you probably want level 3 with a consultation to really attack it aggressively. But at level 1, it contains the black seed oil and the ashwagandha. So it really kind of goes after the core issues directly with that kit. Level 2 includes the moringa seeds, so we're just adding more support in to bring things down quicker. And then at level 4, we're adding the Brahmi. And the reason why the Brahmi is coming in, level 3. The reason why the Brahmi is coming in level 3, I didn't actually include it in the slide deck, to be honest, but there's a lot of herbs that are good for diabetes. But the reason why Brahmi comes in level 3 is because it attacks a different angle. So if your diabetes is driven by adrenal fatigue or cortisol dysfunction, then the Brahmi coming in is really supportive for that. Brahmi in its own right also lowers blood sugar as well, or regulates blood sugar as well. So really effective herb. So the idea with the bundles is, people will have diabetes for different reasons. And as the bundles move up in levels, we're attacking more, or able to attack more, a wider variety of reasons, essentially. So that's kind of how that works. Yes, I mean, if you've got pancreatitis or injured pancreas, then yes, gurma leaf is the herb you're going to want to be using. That's the best option for an injured pancreas. Moringa seeds are also helpful as well. So slightly off topic from diabetes, but Osman has asked, if I have hepatitis B, what do I supposed to do? So with hepatitis B, actually most people will fight off hepatitis themselves, as in you don't need kind of herbs or medication. It's only when you don't do that in the first instance, then you will develop chronic hepatitis, which is understood as an autoimmune condition. It's actually triggering Epstein-Barr virus in the liver. So what I would most recommend would be our anti-herpes kit, because Epstein-Barr is a herpes virus. So I would recommend our anti-herpes kit, which is available on the website. That actually reminds me, I did see a comment earlier on asking about the website with the buy one, get one 50% off. So it's Magic Tree Superfoods. If you go to the links in our bios, then you'll find it there. On YouTube, it's not as accessible, I don't think. So yeah, Magic Tree Superfoods is where you can find all of the healing kits, all of the offers, consultations, and everything else.
Slightly off topic again, but how can you lower your blood pressure instantly?
So we'll actually be launching a blood pressure kit. I was actually doing it before this call, before this session. So hopefully that will be done in the next couple of days. We're upgrading, I should say, our blood builder kit to make it more, instructive. So rather than just being blood build level 1, 2, and 3, we're going to separate it out and have an anemia kit, a high cholesterol kit, and a high blood pressure kit. So hopefully that will help guide people in the right direction. But for high blood pressure, wasn't it? That's going to be ashwagandha, moringa, and black seed oil are your best friends when it comes to that. With high blood pressure as well, I would also recommend Brazil nuts, because they're going to help lower the cholesterol. And typically, high blood pressure is caused by magnesium deficiency, high cholesterol, or excess stress. So one of those 3 things, typically. The herbs plus the Brazil nuts are going to attack all 4 of those potential reasons aggressively.
Someone, I think they joined a bit late, but they said, what should they take for type 2 diabetes? Semaglutide gave them pancreatitis. Yeah. For type 2 diabetes, we've discussed it during the session. We've got a diabetes kit. It's got the black seed oil, the ashwagandha, the Brahmi, and the moringa seeds. That's what I would most recommend for the diabetes. That's what we see results with. Yeah, that's what I'd recommend.
How can one get Guma leaf?
Gurmat leaf is widely available online. We don't sell it yet. We will be hopefully early next year, but I don't have a supplier kind of that I'd recommend specifically, but it is widely available online. I would just recommend you get the whole dried leaf form, because that way you can chew the leaf and get the benefit of the taste buds being dulled, which I think is probably the best thing about the Gurmat.
Someone's asked, do you have a number?
Oops. So we don't have a.
Can you charge for
No, it's fine. So we don't have a WhatsApp number on a business WhatsApp number. We do have the chat function, so we are on Instagram. I think we're actually managing the Instagram inbox now as well, so that's great. You can start messaging us on Instagram again. We are on. The best way to actually reach us directly, because if you message us on Instagram, it will go through the AI first to come through to us. But yeah, if you want to reach us directly, then actually messaging us on the website is the best way to do that and get in touch and ask any questions you have there. We'll probably do a couple more questions and I'll start the wrap up. I take moringa powder supplements daily. Does it have seeds? I've never heard of moringa seed. Yeah, so moringa seeds and moringa powder are both great. I wouldn't slander moringa powder at all. It's usually, well, it depends what's in it. But if it's moringa powder it's green and it's made from the leaf, then it's going to be really good. The main difference between the moringa leaf and the moringa seed is that moringa seed has there's a slightly different mineral profile. So moringa seeds will have more magnesium, it will have more iron, whereas moringa seeds will have more vitamin C, more zinc. So zinc is more in the seed. So slightly different nutritional profile. They're both good. If you have one, I wouldn't say necessarily need to buy the other. I find moringa seed just more convenient to take because the powder's a bit bitter and have to make it into a smoothie and stuff. Whereas the seed, you can just take a couple of seeds and then move on with your day. So yeah, I mean, different strokes for different folks, but yeah, that's what I'd say on that one. Is ashwagandha safe for pregnancy? No, don't take ashwagandha if you're pregnant. The only diabetes pregnancy safe herb would be sea moss, really. So Muna Brahmi, if you just add a H before the M, that's how you can spell it. And that's available on the website as well.
I think some people are joining late, so they're asking questions you've already answered.
Okay.
Someone said, what about bitter melon?
Yeah, bitter melon is a really good option as well. It's really good because it mimics insulin, so it just helps to bring glucose out of the blood. So yeah, bitter melon is something that would have made the presentation deck. Yeah. So Kay, is this available for replay? It will be uploaded on Instagram, so you'll be able to see it on the Reels tab. For anyone not on Instagram, you can go to Instagram and see it. And I think it might also be on YouTube as well.
Someone said, hi, I just joined. Do you do one-on-one coaching?
Yeah, we do one-on-one session, consultations, coaching. Well, depends what you mean by coaching. We do consultations, so TikTok's telling me to solve the puzzle, otherwise it's going to kick me out. It always does it. I don't know why it thinks I'm not a real person. I don't know. Yeah, in terms of one-to-one sessions, we do one-to-one consultations. I was saying this at the start of the call. They're all with me directly. I will be taking a short break for the Christmas period, so from the 24th to the end of the year. There will be no consultations, but we'll be right back to it after that. So yeah, you can go onto the website and click the consultations button, and then you'll get all the information there. I'll just answer this one on fatty liver, and then I'll start wrapping up since I need to go in 5 minutes. So fatty liver. So the good thing about the diabetes kit is it's focused on cleansing the liver. So if you've got fatty liver, you want to be following the exact same diet that we've discussed today. The main differences in terms of herbs would probably be you want more bile builders to break down the fat. So you'd probably want to be incorporating dandelion. You'd probably want to be incorporating artichoke leaf as well as the moringa, as well as the milk thistle. So we do actually have a liver cleanse bundle on the website. That is also buy one get one 50% off. So you can do that as well. So that's, if you follow the link in the bio, you can find the liver cleanse kit. So, all right, let's wrap up. So yeah, again, thank you everyone for joining a diabetes session today, our penultimate session of the year. You know, it's interesting because before we actually started, I'm in like what's the word? Look. There's another word for it, but look back mode. Now we're getting to the end of the year, but we're reminiscing mode. But yeah, before we started these lives, probably about 6 months ago now, and we committed to doing twice a week. And I thought, what on earth are we going to talk about twice a week for an hour? And I just thought it was going to be Q&As because I didn't really have too much to talk about. But it's actually humbling and really. What's the word? I think humbling is just the best word. Because, you know, I'd speak to Jade before we started and decided to do it, and I'd say, who on earth would want to sit here and listen to me talk for an hour about diabetes or, you know, kidney issues or, you know, herpes or all the things we've spoken about. And, you know, especially the people that come back week after week and listen, I just appreciate it so much, so thank you. It's yeah, it's great the community that we've built here. It's great to see the same faces week in, week out. It's great to see the message spread because, you know, I'm seeing it in real time, even being recognized out here in Southeast Asia.
We were hugged.
Hugged in where was it, Malaysia?
Langkawi, yeah.
So it's been a crazy story, and I think it's just yeah, a testament to, you know, don't let your doubt stop you from doing something.
Inner saboteur.
Yeah, and it's not to say that these lives have broken the internet or anything like that, but it's a case of, you know, we're building something that people can really benefit from, and that's the important thing, spreading the message in a different way. So yeah, just thank you again to everyone who's kind of been here supporting us, especially for the last 6 months during these live sessions, because as I always say, you could be anywhere doing anything with all the thousands of videos on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, but you're here, so I appreciate it.
Raina, if I made an order and wondered if it would come before Christmas. So if you're in the UK, then the last day with express delivery is tomorrow. I'd say guarantee a delivery. You know, with Royal Mail, we can never guarantee a delivery, but we do use the 24-hour track service with the express delivery. So it should arrive on Tuesday. If you ordered today, then it should arrive on Tuesday.
Yeah, best to order today or tomorrow before lunchtime.
Because Christmas is Thursday, right? Yeah. So yeah, today should be fairly safe. Because worst case, it should arrive Wednesday. But you know what Royal Mail's like. If you're not in the UK, unfortunately, you probably missed it. But it can arrive before the end of the year. So yeah, I think that's everything. Just we've got the last session of the year next Sunday. It's Christmas Eve on Wednesday, so I'm sure people will be traveling to see their family and won't be wanting to listen to me talk about herpes. So we will give Wednesday a miss, but we will be back on Sunday for the last session of the year. We'll probably do a herpes. We'll probably do like a herpes and ADHD, since that's probably been the most popular topics. Maybe touch on a bit of fibroids as well. Most popular topics maybe on Sunday with a bit of a recap. So yeah, that's what join us on Sunday for that. In your post Christmas, pre-New Year's. Is that am I getting my dates mixed up? No, it's not Christmas yet, is it? No, next Sunday.
No, so it'll be Christmas be gone.
Yes. So post Christmas, pre-New Year's. Lull. You can tune in for some of that.
And where will you be then on Sunday? Not another hotel room?
We will be fighting internet in Cambodia, as I will be. So, yes. But no, yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Hope everyone has a lovely Christmas. Hope everyone has a lovely festive season for those who don't celebrate Christmas. Take some time to recoup, relax, don't eat too much junk food. But also don't miss out on enjoying all the festivities and enjoying the celebration. So, yeah.
Enjoy this time with your loved ones. Be reflective.
Yeah.
Be mindful. Be kind. But enjoy yourself. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next week for the last session of the year. Bye, everyone.